right. Well, there we have it. So let's hear from our live and direct people who was at the reparations hearing. We need a summary. Before that, National Chairman.
I'm thankful to be here, but I'm happy to hear the people giving us accolades in the West, and we are certainly giving you all accolades in the East. And we are working hard in the mindset that the place that we have centered and targeted have produced another body bag in Spartanburg, South Carolina. They are bent on killing. I am telling you, just straight up, they have one wish and one wish only to produce as many body bags as possible. They are all in a race, in a mad race, to be number one killer. Biden, Trump, Chuck Wright, Chuck Wrong, all of them, they are in the same competition. And from wherever they are going to produce body bags. If they get any notoriety whatsoever, from Bill Clinton to Hillary, from Obama with the mindset of Obama. Look, he knocked off 3 world leaders. That's in record time by Obama. Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden, and Muammar Gaddafi, all in a row. Bam, 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 bam. And all of them are violations of international law to go after the leader of a nation. And they just did a drive-by and hope we didn't see it or we didn't catch it. But one thing for sure, we will not let the opposition on that level, we will not allow them off the hook at the county and citywide level at Spartanburg, at the international law for what they've done to those leaders, and at the reparations, this venture, this junction, this turn in the road. We cannot allow them off the hook for reparations. We must have full accountability. We must have full and complete land acquisition. We must have full and complete governance. And we must have a change in the face of leadership at this hour. Black power. Black power. Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
We're going to go into details, concentrating on Spartanburg and the recent body bag they had yesterday. Jimmy Hill, 41 years old, died again in Spartanburg Detention Center, where we have Lavelle Lane, Forrest Edward, Casey Michelle Tate, and Darius Holcomb, just to name a few of the 23 body bags since 2015. Very, very disturbing.
Ultimately, I feel like we coming a long way with the movement we're trying to make with this reparations and repair and harm of chattel slavery. Unfortunately, it's taken 2 years too long for them to come up with a solution to how we should be paid. But we keeping up the good fight. Thank you.
Right on. Very well said. All right. Now, next, Brother Reggie, what is your take and your feedback on this month's hearing in Sacramento?
Like I stated yesterday when I was up here, I tried to take off the record on them and tell them that we didn't like them. Ken's and Karen calling in, sitting in the glass houses. But yeah, I checked them on that because it was disrespectful, because the time before I went up there, we had to come back. A lot of people had to come back the next day, but the people on the phone calls just calling and taking all the time up, getting their hour. But we don't get no hour with 30 people in line. So we was coming back the next day. The next day, we getting like a minute and a half, you know what I'm saying? So I checked them this yesterday, and then they just went on with the same routine. You know what I'm saying? In LA, they went crazy with it. It was almost a fight there. It was almost a fight the first day. The first day. You know what I'm saying? They got a little heated. You know what I'm saying? So they don't know what they're doing. And I told them, you know what I'm saying? I said, y'all got to change that. But however, after all that, what's her name? I call her Q Davis. She was like Davis up there. We gave her, and they was like telling her to be quiet. Everybody was standing up, fists up, everything. We was chin up, chest out. She rocked it. If you go over the tape, watch her. She from Frisco. She bad. I told her to come listen for Sunday. She gonna be on the Sunday. No, not Sunday. She gonna make it Monday program. But she tight in Frisco and she digging the 1619. The 1619 reparations part. She understand where we coming from. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the land. Because that's my thing. My tactics And my strategy is for the land. Everybody looking at the money, but don't forget about the land. And I ain't gonna forget about the land. You know, like I said, I was trying to get those 2 prisons every day. We stopped them from trying to keep us putting circles and triangles like in kindergarten. Like you can't rehabilitate us because we've been getting the first and second and third strikes. So obviously we doing worse. You know what I'm saying? So give us 5 years, like you gave them honkies. You know what I'm saying? And watch what we produce. You feel me? So yeah, we broke it down to them, man. We did right, and then we put some motions in for some more talks about the land because they always talk about money. I yield back. I yield black.
Yeah, black. Right on. And that's what we want to do for our next task force hearing will be May 2nd, and it's only going to be for 1 day. We will reiterate the need for land acquisition. So we will work together to achieve that as we're working on obtaining property here in not only California. We request that you guys continue to identify land in your area. We need addresses. As I said, reparations is a big part of what we are going to bring to the table, not the opposition. Another body bag. On March 29th, let me see if I can pull this up. My God. Okay, so on March 29th, we have another death at Spartanburg County Detention Center. And let me pull this up for those who may not know where Spartanburg Detention Center is. And what we are planning to do on April 17th, so please mark your calendars for that. Okay, so here is the actual detention center. On February 20th, we were there to speak to Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office to find out that they had no policy. If you have not seen that video, just look up on our YouTube channel, and then you'll see the video, the snippet of video, not as in its entirety, but for about 15 minutes. We were there for about an hour and a half, and the Lane Reese family were the ones that we were accompanying to speak to Charles Chuck Wrongright concerning not only the death of Lavelle Lane, but the information of the arresting officer. And so that never happened. That never transpired. To this day, we still don't have his badge number. Spartanburg, South Carolina. On March 29th, they had another fatality of 41-year-old Jimmy Hill. Mental health issues and same key players, Rusty Clevenger, SLED, the Spartanburg County Sheriff. They're all the same culprits that are involved in not only Lavelle's death, but we have Forrest Edward Taylor, 42, that was killed back in April. Then we have a Casey Michelle Tate about a couple of weeks ago, 33 years old, that was also killed, Spartanburg County Sheriff. And Darius Holcomb, who was killed a couple of weeks ago as well. Now, what we had filed was a Freedom of Information Act, and I'll go over with you. All right, so third inmate death of 2023 in Spartanburg Jail. Spartanburg County Coroner Rusty Clevenger reported Wednesday night, which was yesterday, his office was called to investigate the death at the Spartanburg County Detention Facility early in the afternoon. This third report, it reported inmate death of 2023. So this is the third one this year. Clevenger said in a press release to the media that the deceased, Jimmy Lee Hill, 41 of Spartanburg, Renee Wunderlich of South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, which is SLED. SLED is the agency right under the governor, Henry D. McMaster, that investigates police, anything, law enforcement, anything, basically. They're like the state FBI, so to speak. SLED confirmed that the agency is investigating Hill's death. Wunderlich had said no further the details that could be released. Rusty Clevenger issued, who is a county coroner, for Spartanburg, he issued an update Thursday morning stating a forensic autopsy had been completed. There are no signs of external force or injury arbitrary to his demise, Rusty Clevenger stated. We will be following through with a toxicology analysis before making a final determination in cause and manner of death. Same exact script that they had in not only Lavelle's case, but in the other 4 as well. They're investigating toxicology reports. The Herald Journal reported on the death of Forrest Taylor, 42, earlier this month. He was the second death at the jail this year following the death of Casey Michelle Tate, 33. Wunderlich from SLED confirmed that SLED's investigation into Taylor's death is open and active. I'm sure it is. It's going to be open and active for a while now. 2 weeks ago, the family of Lavelle Lane, who died inside the facility in early October 2022, Darius Holcomb, a man who was shot and killed in an encounter with the sheriff's deputy, both gathered outside the jail to protest what they call lack of transparency and accountability in their respective investigations. And this was on February 20th. The press conference organized by civil rights group Racial Justice Network included a letter to the Department of Justice, South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson, and SLED Chief Mark Keel, requesting a DOJ investigation into the facility. This protest came weeks after a report spearheaded by a professor at the University of South Carolina Law School, which found that Spartanburg jails had 18 deaths between 2015 and 2021. The total is more than any other county jail in the state. There were 5 deaths in the jail in 2022, according to Clevenger. All right, so this is the report that came back today concerning yesterday's death. And we're going to just highlight Racial Justice Network. And I want you to really remember this name. This name has been prolific in a lot of press conferences in the past concerning Spartanburg issues, but more recently, the deaths of Darius Holcomb, which is relation to this network, is still up in the air. So we want to have transparency for also activists.
Peace, everybody. How you doing?
All
To the people.
Greetings,
Oh.
Queen Mother. Black Power.
People.
Black Power.
Black power.
Black power.
Well, the circle's still spinning. There's another death yesterday. Spartanburg Detention Center. She informed me that she spoke to one of his family members and said he had a whole lot of severe illnesses going on, with him. But being that said, I mean, if you have somebody with multiple illnesses, why aren't they, and they're in custody, granted, why aren't they in a hospital bed? Well, the police posted outside the room and him handcuffed to the bed or whatever form you want to detain him. But the detainment I'm talking about, why wasn't he in the hospital? So that's why he demised. That's what my understanding is. This ongoing murdering in this specific Spartanburg Detention Center, 950 California Avenue, Spartanburg, South Carolina, 29301, it needs to be demolished. We came to them several times. Be peaceful to get some kind of clarity, some kind of understanding. And to this day, it has not been reached. I mean, they don't give us no response, no legible responses. I mean, they treat us like, oh, well, it happened. What you gonna do? I mean, that's just the vibes I'm getting. And, I'm just fed up, as a human being, not even more so. We're going to go above and beyond of being Lavelle's mother. As a human being, on this here earth. And my fellow man is just dismissing me. And they the ones that's supposed to be care and custody and control, protected. You know, they're not doing that. And I'm just tired of the talking. I really am. I'm so sick of repeating this here scenario over and over. I mean, I live this every day. And it's not a good feeling. And you know, the end, the conclusion, I don't know what tomorrow going to bring, because tomorrow ain't promised to us. I'm just hopeful that I see it. But I know my son will never, ever take inhales or exhales again. So I'm standing in the gap for him. And I have people backing me to do that. And I'm on the phone with you all. And it just has to come to some kind of, something has to be done. But it's nobody being held accountable for these deaths. Not just my son. It's nobody being held accountable for these body bags coming out of that same freaking building.
That's right.
And that's the part of this whole thing that just got my whole soul, just not even my mind and my body, it got my soul in such a dismay, and I'm not used to this. You know, I can get a smell, a taste of something, or buy something, and you know, it just, my heart, it just feels like it's a vice grip on it, because it reminds me of my son. You know, I had to go through this, and it's not done. You know, I'm still at day one. On Monday, the 3rd of March, it'll be 6 months. They still have not shown me no footage of them detaining my son from when they picked him up on the highway walking, because that's all he got arrested for. That was his crime. That was his initial crime. Walking, pedestrian in the roadway. That's how they put it. And 4 hours and 45 minutes later, my son was deceased, dead. And I still don't know why. And nobody is being held accountable. I can't reiterate that enough. No one is being held accountable for them walking people in there, quote unquote, as inmates, detainees, and they're carrying them out in fucking body bags.
This is exactly why we have to move differently in order for us to seek justice. Thank you, Queen Mother, for that update.
You're welcome.
Request summary. This is the Freedom of Information Act that was filed today, March 30th. The summary of the FOIA is as follows. Spartanburg Detention Center employees list all of the employees and badge numbers. Major Chris Lesso and all the employees and functions from August 1st, 2022 to March 30th, 2023. We're only requesting the list of employees from Spartanburg Detention Center for the period of 6 months. As a branch of the Sheriff's Office, the mission of Spartanburg County Detention Center is to protect the public by securely detaining individuals who have been arrested or accused of committing various offenses. Spartanburg County citizens, the goal of the detention center is to ethically and legally provide a secure, sanitary, and safe place of pretrial incarceration in the most efficient and most cost-effective manner, while inmates receive humane, respectful, and professional treatment from the detention personnel. Detention administration assures continued oversight and compliance with the standards set forth by the state and local jail statutes, while providing realistic career development, strategic planning, training, and safety for management and staff personnel. Deaths of Lavelle Lane, Darius Holcomb, Jimmy Hill, Casey Michelle Tate. What I just read particularly is from the Spartanburg Detention Center website. Now, what we just read is completely the opposite of what they're providing. They're not providing a secure, sanitary, safe place for pretrial incarceration. They're killing us in that detention center. So that alone is particularly why we want to hold them accountable. So the Agency for the Freedom of Information Act is Raymond McKinney. He is the FOIA officer. Telephone 202-551-7900, and his email as well. Then you have Adrian Santos, who's the FOIA branch manager. Then we have Aaron Taylor, who's the FOIA branch manager, I guess number 2. Third branch manager is Carmen Malone. And the fourth one is Carrie Hyde Michaels. Then you have the FOIA branch chief, which is Lizette Catilius. Okay. So these are the names of the officers we're going to be following up. We requested for expedited processing. All right. And so that is a summary for Spartanburg.
We have
Yes,
been
sir.
into Spartanburg on numerous occasions, and we've always gone a little bit slow and not wanting to jump the gun out in a township that we know something needs to be done, but we're trying to find the people on the ground that will better direct us. The city council manager, Manning Lynch, virtually ignored all 4 of us. There are 3 from the Reese and the Lane family spoke. I spoke, and he said something along the lines before we spoke that don't be surprised at something that the council doesn't have to respond. So he sent a signal to the council basically not to respond to us, you see? And then, so there's no future. He didn't say, well, we're going to meet on Tuesday and come back with an answer. He just did a nullified non-response. Now, this is how you deal with when someone has been killed. That is demonstrating to us the high-end insensitivity. I'm going to isolate it and say the insensitivity for Black people and Black lives and for we the people. And we should be doing everything to organize. And I'm very, very disturbed. So Queen Mother, you're going to have to inspire them to hold Black Panther meetings in Spartanburg on a regular basis. It's one of the few things that I know is in your favor that will eventually help you to balance the scale. Because every other meeting in every other church is either in line with this department, with Manning Lynch, with that police chief, with the Chuck Wrongrights of this world, are all lined up together. And the Negro sympathizer, as Candace Brower is telling us, that the people are afraid. And I don't know, I lost fear way back there somewhere. And I found out then at 13 that they were cowards. And they are running through the woods now with the event, with the jump on me. One Black man pissed off, you are on my land, you are burning some goddamn cross shit. I didn't have no respect. At that age, I wasn't afraid of nothing. I'm saying to you, we have to bring some definite parameters. Either we get a strong military move, a strong congressional move, something that brings about a change in the direction where things are going that people ignore it until the next body bag. We cannot. And I'm saying that we will. The Black Panther Party, under my leadership, will not let another body bag go unanswered like this. Somebody from Spartanburg will have to answer. It don't look right for me to bring people from Washington, Baltimore, Los Angeles, all those places, and 1 or 2 little knuckleheads from down the street may have said something or done something to hold back the public or hold them back. So I won't go further, but you see the direction I'm driving in. And I hope you find the same level of importance that you will be able to sacrifice something to make a difference in Spartanburg and Black Power. Black Power.
Black Power.
Black power.
All right. So last but not least agenda we're going to wrap up is North Carolina. And that where we need to have the video of the assault on our comrade John Carrington. This was on March 1st. A Joe Wright was the name of the Roxborough officer that they put on the paper, but it is not his actual name. And that's a problem right there. So if our North Carolina Panthers, can they give us an update or elaborate on what's happening currently in Roxborough? Maybe our chief of staff can lead that.
Peace and Black Power, family. I hope all is well. We went down into Roxborough, North Carolina. We went down to the police station. First of all, let me backtrack. It was a combination of sheriff's department and police department that had a hand in an assault against our brother. So I went in, or me, myself, Brother John Carrington, and Brother Maurice, if I wasn't mistaken, but we all went there, filed a Freedom of Information Act, as well as a request to see the full body cam footage and not the 10-second clip, edited clip they tried to pass off to us. And the clip that they showed of it was to show their narrative of what happened instead of the whole thing that happened. And that's the regular and constant, consistent behavior of law enforcement everywhere. But we went in to request to set up a time to where we could review the whole video evidence, the body cam footage, and we were denied. Chief Hess, who is a known racist, who is known for his allowance of treachery on our people down on Roxborough, and he's okay with it. He allows his officers to constantly and consistently get out of line, especially when it comes to the treatment of Black folks. He, in that brief meeting, claimed that only John Carrington and his legal team could represent or see the footage, which is false. Just going on, if you have constitutional right knowledge, any organization or anybody representing an individual doesn't even have to be a lawyer. And again, it goes back to knowing our constitutional rights. Anyone who is, or any organization, I should say, has the right to defend or stand up for you in court as long as they're competent and it is approved by the individual you're defending. So that is what we're going to go with going into this case. This brother has a real solid case. We have already gone down the list, and actually there's more that needs to go on that list of how they constitutionally and against protocol, might I add, not only against constitutional rights, but they also violated North Carolina protocol, Roxborough protocol. They violated their own protocols in this case, which we will also be adding to the list of charges going into this case. This police chief continues to deny constitutional rights and constitutional laws. Actually, he acts under the color of law. And that is basically any time you are willing to violate somebody's rights using law to go against them. This is one of the definitions of color of law that I'm giving. And that's going to be one of our main driving forces to do what needs to be done at Roxborough. And if we can get it's not going to be too hard to get people to stand up in Roxborough. We just have to have a platform and a place, more importantly than anything, a place in which we can speak from. Because once we get a solid footing of a place that we can speak from, the people will come. The people will come, because people on Roxborough have stated time and time again that they're tired of this. Brother John Carrington is not the only one. just in the last couple of months, we have had 3 cases of police misconduct just within the last couple of months before John's case even came to fruition. So Roxborough is tired of this. Roxborough is, under the right circumstances, ready to stand up. And I have every confidence in the people of Roxborough. Just like Spartansburg, we just got to get out there and start talking to the people and coming across the right ones. Just like we proved in Roxborough a couple of weeks ago when we were down there. We spoke to the people. The people are tired. In fact, the people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. So all we need is the platform in which to speak from, and we can rock Roxborough. And with that, I yield the mic. Black Power.
This is Chief Hess. If you're looking at your screen, this is the culprit that is responsible for the melee upon our brother, John Carrington, as we see here, swollen eye, just for existing. So, Brother John, if you're there, if you want to just elaborate a little bit about what happened that night, just briefly for those who may not know, and what the current status is. And you could fall back on what Chief of Staff has stated a few minutes ago as well.
Black Power.
Black Power.
Black Power.
There was a fight that broke out amongst family, and I was breaking up the fight, but the fight was over when the police got there, and we were walking back to my sister's house, and when the police pulled up, they came out really much aggressive. One of the officers was there. We don't bump heads before because of the killing of David Bruce Jr. And I would see it in my eye. When I finally got on the ground, he took his gun out, stuck it up to my head, told me to stop moving. Pretty much, once they got handcuffs on me, they would hit me in where I was handcuffed, slamming my head in the door and stuff like that, macing me in my mouth and my eyes while they had me on the ground. That's pretty much it.
Charges, and we're just going to read some of the ridiculous charges here. It's a little upside down, but the basic thing that stuck out was ethnic intimidation. Is one of the felony charges they have on Brother Carrington. Ethnic intimidation. Now, when I had to look that up, basically, it didn't give you a concrete definition of what ethnic intimidation is. It just gives you a terminology of intimidating in a racial fashion. Very ridiculous.
I'm trying to find a request form because they did not have that at the precinct when I went.
I see. All right, so we're just going to have to file that as soon as possible, turn that in. And when is the next council meeting?
April 11th is the next council meeting.
Okay, April 11th. That is 6 days before Spartanburg. All right, so there we have it. That is a synopsis of our 2 major cases that we have to continue the process moving forward. April 11th, Roxborough, North Carolina, and April 17th in Spartanburg, South Carolina. So we have to have our own self-governing party. This is Chief Police of Roxborough, Hess, and find out why the paperwork does not match what happened with the actual officer, Mr. Wright, which they have his wrong name on the report, and charges such as ethnic intimidation is beyond ridiculous. We want funding for his eye replacement, a lot of physical damage along with mental anguish that Roxborough Police continues. As Chief of Staff stated, the people are tired. And so we have to step in to break the monotony of police brutality.
I see he has a badge on.
Yes, ma'am. Good observation, Queen Mother. And
Spartanburg said they don't have to wear badges.
not at all.
And they don't have to give you their badge number.
That's right.
Isn't that what they said to us in our face?
They sure did. Sure did. So as we take a look at this picture, this is definitely how a law enforcement officer should be dressed, identifying agents on his chest, Name and badge number is usual basic identification process for law enforcement. But again, in towns like Spartanburg or the state of South Carolina, for that matter, they make up the laws as they go. They don't have to identify themselves. And so we are putting together a documentary piece concerning police policy so we can actually give it to the local governance and they can do their job. While they are figuring out how to do their job, we're going to do our job by continuing to create the self-governance through the 1619 party. So we got to move the goalposts for our freedom and self-determination. We all have different functions, but at the end of the day, our main mission is revolution. It is not just a word, it is a lifestyle.
Black power, black power. We are thankful to all of you. Be consistent, brothers and sisters. What we can do is build the energy for our brothers, CJ and Ty, that are right there in that township. None of that matters. If you don't have an inertia or a natural instinct or a natural sensitivity, it's dirty to just keep killing us and nobody answered the call. Nobody answering the body bag. That's where we are right now, brother and sister. And everybody need to be all hands on deck until further notice.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power, black power.
I want God to guide our steps, and I want God to guide our hearts, and I want Him to just keep His arms wrapped around us and build a hedge of protection around each and every one of us. By the sound of my voice, our family members, our children, our grandchildren, sisters, brothers, each and every one of us, just go in front of us and be our shield and guide us through the night. We have a peaceful slumber. Well, we wake up tomorrow, God's willing, and have an incentive and the motivation just to love one another and protect one another. United we stand, divided we fall. Peace and black power.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power. Black power.
Okay, so this is
Black power, black power, black power.
Black power.